Cam, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's good to have you on, man.
Looks cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just been thrown together, kind of like...
What city's that skyline?
Well, it's probably something straight out of the imagination with a few Christmas lights, but interesting you should say that because I did go and get a quote for a properly cut out one, and they wanted like $1,000.
That looks really good. I'm very impressed. It looks sick. That is real. What did you pay? $4,000 for that?
I paid like $50 for the board, and then I just kind of cut it out, paint it black, and just chuck Christmas lights on it. But go to the shot with Cam. That shot doesn't look quite as good. You can kind of tell it's got a bit of a cheap look, But
we know it's low budget.
That's right, low budget. Now I will introduce Cam somewhat. Cam, I think I've called it early. One of the future of Australian comedy. There's going to be like probably 12 people who are the future of Australian comedy. Cam will be one of them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't really like not the pressure. I don't like it because it's like maybe I will, but I don't know I'm having fun right now.
Well, I did see you do something, some Raw stuff.
Yeah.
And it looked like you're having a great time. Tell us about Raw. What happened?
Raw made the final, the Raw National Final. That was cool, but it I did Raw 2 years ago. It was about 6 months into comedy. Invited like 10 mates. My girlfriend at the time all came, and I just bombed so hard. It was like the worst set ever. All my friends are like, trying to be nice, but it was horrible. Then, kept gigging last year, did it. Got through the first stage, and I went in with no expectation. Got through the first stage, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's just a good validation. Next gig, the semi-finals, did really good, and I didn't get through, and I was like, what's this? Got an email. Wildcarded through to the next round. So I got wildcarded from the semi to the state.
Yeah, okay.
And then the state gig, that was probably the best gig. Some days it's just your day. Sometimes everything just aligns, and that day was just my day, and I just did the best, pulled this really good set out of my ass somehow, and didn't get through on the night. Got wildcarded again, but I literally said to my friends, I'm going to get wildcarded. Yeah, I was like, I just knew it. Spoke into existence, got wildcard through, final. It was cool, but I don't want that to be the pinnacle of I'm kind of just put that behind me. It's cool I did it, but how am I now getting to that next level? I don't want that to be the pinnacle of my career.
It won't be. You'll have an illustrious career, I'll tell you right now. I've got this, I saw Merrick, American Rosso.
Yeah.
I saw Merrick do one of his first gigs. I said, mate, that guy's got it. He's going to get somewhere. I never picked Rove though, because Rove was in a double act with Duff, and But if you look back on,
was there more double acts back in the day?
Yeah,
there's no double acts.
No, there's not as many or any hardly. But the thing that Rove, what Rove had, right, is that he was very likable on stage. He was clean cut. No one was going to be offended.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just looked like he'd had a shower that day. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of comedians, if you look at them, it's like, man, this guy's always just come off the street.
Yeah, I do. I don't enjoy when comedians rock up in trackies.
Yeah,
they're wearing tracksuits on stage, and you can just see the outline of their dick. You know, you just see it. I'm like, put it away, put some pants, some jeans on, put something on.
Dress up a bit.
Tracksuits and no tracksuits on stage.
So Cam, where do you want to go? I've called you as being one of the dozen that's going to be shaping comedy down the track. Where do you want to go?
I just love comedy. Honestly, my goal is to do comedy as my job. However big that takes it, or how little, I had another job. I was a surveyor. I quit it because I was like, I want to focus on comedy. And my original goal was to earn more money than I would have earned doing that. Because it's but now I'm doing it. I don't care about money. I love doing comedy. That's it. I'm very driven. I have a lot of goals for myself. I always want to improve, get better. But an end goal, I once said I'd want to own a comedy club in Melbourne. I was like, a Joe Rogan mothership style comedy club in Melbourne, because Melbourne comedy is sick. It is really, really cool. But there's just not, imagine a big club,
sure.
You put some open mics on there, whatever, that would be because if I'm 50, I can't be on the road and you can't get money in Australia just being a club comic or whatever like that. You have to be on the road.
Yeah. So this is something interesting about for all those comedy lovers out there. In America, right? The comedy scene's so big that you can pretty much just travel around all year round.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much earn $5,000 a week if you're you have to be pretty good, and maybe it'd help if you had a bit of a profile, done a few TV spots, whatever. But you can earn $5,000 a week doing comedy in America, like a lot of people can. Whereas in Australia, oh man, what a sleepy old...
You have to be selling your own tickets.
Yeah,
you have to be selling your own tickets and doing your own thing. There's no, obviously you can get TV, things like that, but just off being a comedian, the only way you're going to make money through comedy is by selling your own tickets. So obviously you got to build that following and all that. But I'm still 25. Yeah, but everything's like...
Yeah, but that's the big advantage. The big advantage is being 25.
Yeah. Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because the networks and the radio stations, they want to appeal to the younger listeners.
Yeah.
The people because the advertisers want the people who got cash.
Yeah.
They don't want some 55-year-old guy like me going, oh, I've got no money, so I don't care what you're selling. But so what about radio? You consider radio?
It's just big money. There's just 6 jobs in radio.
Yeah.
There's 6 jobs, and there's 1,000 people. I'd rather get into do my own thing, like podcasting or something like that. Do my own thing because I don't want to, I have a friend who really wanted to do radio. He went to radio school. He interned at Kiss FM, all this stuff, and then it's just like, all right, the next step is to then go to regional and do a regional radio show, and I'm just not going. I don't have a passion for it. I have a passion for doing comedy. So if someone wants to give me $300K to do a radio show, I'm all ears.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
But I'm not gonna. Man, I'll sell out the second anyone wants me to sell out. I'll do it. Yeah. I'll do anything for some money right now.
There's no such thing as selling out. Years ago, I went to Hughesy used to have this apartment opposite Luna Park, and he bought it for like $400,000. Sold it for over $1 million. Something. I'm just saying rumors. Who knows really? But the thing is that when I walked into Hughesy's place, I thought, man, this is what comedy buys. This is what comedy... Because it's unbelievable what comedy will buy. You know what I mean? Because you kind of think to yourself, at my level back in the 90s, I'd get $20 in my back pocket, and I'd have to beg the promoter. And I might get a little stick of mole or something, and I'd had a half-decent good gig. But then to see what comedy bought Hughesy...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a $400,000 apartment that turned into $1 million apartment.
Yeah, well, he's been on radio since before I was born, pretty much. He's been,
And Hughesy, forgive me for sharing if that's not shareable information.
I don't think Hughesy will say that. He'll be fine.
Hughesy, turn the So Cam, so you wouldn't rule out rap. Now, why do you see it as selling out though?
No, not selling out, but that was more a joke. That was more me saying. That was just... Still trying to be a comedian. No, I'll do, honestly, anything creative, anything I can be funny, can do, if I can be funny for a job, I'll do it. If you want me to be funny on radio, I love being creative. I love doing funny things, making funny video. I enjoy that stuff, the creative process of being funny. So if it is in a radio environment, I'll do, honestly, anyone wants to give me money to do something creative, I'll do it. Yeah. So what about the Letterman thing, the Tonight Show thing? Would you do that? Because Sam Pang just got... It's your job. I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll focus on comedy. You to be Letterman.
Yeah. But okay. I'm just trying to drill down into the possibilities. So what about a sketch comedy show? Obviously, you'd love to...
I've done so me and a couple of mates been writing a bunch of sketches and filming it and stuff like that, but... We're just we want to build up a bank before we release them. So we've got a couple on the go right now. And then we want to film 10 before we put them out. So, we're getting into that now. Because it is, you got to do online. There's no comedy career path without having followers or fans, just based off...
Let me ask you a question, Ron. In classic comedy terms, I'll stop you right there. Sorry. Now, if you had a set like this, right? Over that side or somewhere at your house or someone's house somewhere, would that be something that would interest you?
I've done a podcast before. That's how I kind of got into comedy. I just in COVID started a podcast because I was just bored.
Yeah.
But I just interviewed my friends over Zoom and released it just on SoundCloud to my friends.
Oh, okay.
And then it got a bit bigger and started filming it and stuff like that. But then I just stopped it because I was like, I want to just focus on comedy right now.
What about a show like this? Like obviously not this because this is a set that I built.
Yeah.
Arwin Kraze show. But what about this type of set?
I would do anything. I want to focus on comedy first. That's kind of my get good at comedy, get something in comedy before I spread myself too thin. Because there was a stage where I was doing comedy, I was doing a podcast, and I was only doing a couple gigs a week, and I was focused on this more, and I just didn't feel the improvement from comedy getting that hard because I wasn't able to gig as much. So comedy first, and then once I'm comfortable, even now I'm at a spot where, because last year I wanted to get really good at comedy. That was kind of I was get good at comedy. That was my goal. Yeah. And now I'm at a point where I'm confident in myself where I could, if I sell tickets to a show and people come, I'm proud of what I give them.
Yeah.
So now I'm more thinking about how do I market myself? How do I do this?
Yeah. Now, interestingly, Maury Morgan really did a great write-up of you. Said highly recommend Cameron Muratore do a gig. And Maury, he sees because he runs a school. Or coaches, people, he sees Dom, he sees everyone. So, how many gigs are you doing a week?
Try to do 4, 5, 6. Some weeks I'll do as much as I think my most I've done is 10 in a week, and then minimum 4. And so, so what's the worst gig look like for Cameron? What's the worst gig? Last night was really bad. Just knowing I have as in myself or what's happening.
Well, put it this way, right? It's it's like Dustin Martin's worst game is still better than. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's the worst
gig? So I'm not prepared. So last night I wasn't prepared. It's an energy I have as well that I don't really even want to be there. And I realised that after the gig, you don't realise that when you're sitting there, you go, this guy, everyone's bombing in front of you, there's no audience there. And I'm then I'm playing into it going, I don't want to be here either. And then you get up there and they feed off that energy. Because there's times where I know they're going to be bad gigs. They're always bad gigs, but I just want to get the words out, get more stage time, whatever. But I'll do them when I know I have another gig after it. I call it washing off my sins. You know what I mean? You can do the bad gig and then you can go to the good gig after and then you leave feeling all good. Yeah. But the other week I had no gig on a Tuesday, so I was like, I'm going to go to this gig that's renowned for not being the greatest. Shout out La La Land on a Tuesday. Great place. And I went there, but because I wasn't doing another gig, I had this energy because I was like, well, I'm here now, but this is all I'm doing tonight. And I felt like I wanted to be there, and the audience reacted that way as well. They fed off my energy, and I did really well. And I realised it is all about my mindset going into it. If I'm not wanting to be there, because it's pissing down rain right now, I don't really want to go to these gigs after this. I want to go home and watch the football.
Yeah,
where
do you vote for?
Richmond.
Oh, I'm a Richmond. Yeah, I'll take support again. So, what's a really good gig look like then? What was a really good one? So that's gig. Because the last gig I did at the Lomond, I kind of pretty much bombed, but I didn't believe in my material. I kind of I said, I don't know. From the first gag, I just knew that it probably wasn't them. It was probably me. But Aiden Hitchens kindly said to me, he said, you don't bomb as hard as other people bomb because you've got all those gigs behind you. You kind of half bomb. But to me, it was a full bomb. You know what I mean? What's a good gig look like?
A good gig for Cam. I'm just in the zone. I call it in the pocket, where I just don't. I don't think. Whatever I say just works. I'm not. My voice is just clear. I'm confident, and I always just loose and free. And I'm just saying my jokes, not scripted though, where it's I'm just saying it more like it's a story. And then I always know that sometimes I'll get a lot of laughter, but I know, I'm not really vibing it that hard. But there's times where I'll leave, the endorphins I got released in my body, and that's what I count as a good gig. I'll leave and I'll go, I felt that one tonight, that one felt good. That was So, a couple of comics talk about going home with a few tears in the eyes, what am I doing? And have you done that? Have you gone home crying? So I did the comedy course, and I the graduation. There's 70 people there, and I crushed. I was like, oh my god, I'm on top of the world. But the next gig I did the same 5 minutes, like not even like a pity, like it was silence the whole set.
Oh, yeah, go on.
And I remember just thinking like, what have I done here? But never. I've always said, don't get too high, don't get too low. Stay in the middle. It's never as good as it is. It's never as bad as it is. Because like last night, I literally had one of the worst gigs I've done all year. Like bombed so hard. Then I just went to another one and I did really well. But if I went into it thinking I just bombed, it's always okay, and because it doesn't really matter. I do so like none of it matters. Unless it's a big gig. But
I get you.
It doesn't.
So interesting. Cam's talking about the whole idea that you're not going to see anyone again anyway, unless there are other comedians who are all going through the same trip.
But then they've seen me be good as well, and I don't do well at this gig. Well, I wake up tomorrow and I go to another gig, and I do, and it's just the process. And like, if I do bad, why did I do bad?
So tell us the rooms you're doing. What's the best rooms? What are the best rooms you're doing in Melbourne? Without going, you just want to give it a selfless plug. But
the best room is Club Voltaire on a Sunday. Well, this is what I do. There's obviously much better rooms.
Club Voltaire, is that the one in North Melbourne?
One in North Melbourne. They run a gig on a Sunday. Pack it out every time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is that a
Nah.
Oh, it's a curated.
Yeah, booked. So
who Dan Brader runs that?
Nah, it's like Kai DeAngelis.
Okay, done.
Yeah.
So the Club Voltaire's a good one.
On a Sunday, they do. If you want to go to a good gig, that's a great gig. What else is good? Just shows they don't do really good gigs. In Frankston, Humdinger, it's called there's a Frankston gig on a Tuesday, Young Street Tavern or something like that.
I've heard that's a good one.
That's a really good gig. And just all the gigs that I run, probably, yeah. If I'm ever on a gig, it's a good one.
Fantastic. So, have you done Comics Lounge?
Nope.
Do you want to do Comics Lounge?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to do Comics Lounge. So, okay.
I want to do all the big... I want to do every room. I want to do every gig ever. I love every gig. I love doing comedy.
Yeah.
But I also, I don't put myself out there too much in terms of asking for bigger spots and stuff like that. Just maybe I felt not ready for it, where... after the Raw final, a lot of the other people who were in the final were doing those spots and stuff like that. But, I was pretty fresh into comedy, and I didn't really have that much material, and I didn't even like my material that much.
Right, okay.
But now I'm definitely like, I go to these gigs where there is some big time comedians on, and I, am able to be on par with them, and I go, okay, I can do this. So I think this year I'm going to try, start asking around, trying to get some bigger spots and stuff like that, try to get some money maybe.
What about have you delved into the acting world?
Nope. Besides the things that me and my friends have filmed.
Oh, okay, okay. I tell you, I I can see it, Cam. A couple of years down the track, I'll be at dinner party. I go, Cam Muratore, I know him. You know what I mean? Because I know there was this thing. I'll tell you why I say this, right? Because at Rusden, where I studied drama and media at Rusden for 6 years at university, and what would happen is that they would audition maybe 250 people for 20 spots. Right, and pretty much, and because I was really close with some of the teachers in the end, and they would explain the process, right? That what would happen is that you would sit there and you'd go, and then all of a sudden someone would come on like, bang, that's what we're looking for. And I think that translates into comedy as well. That some people are just like the complete, like it's like Brad Ottens used to play for Richmond, and Lee Matthews said, he's the complete package. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I say that, I'm not trying to kind of like take the mickey. I honestly think that you've got youth, vigor, you've got likability, clean cut guy. You're not going to offend anyone. Material might, but kind of marketability, and all you have to do is be half funny. And I think and you'll see it as well. The longer you're in comedy, you'll see people go, okay, that person you've got. It's like you've got 99 sheep, but you've got this one that is going to be a bit different.
Well, I do think with comedy, I do watch some like comedy specials of big comedians and stuff like that, and I go, I see people do jokes better than this. Comedy is just about marketing. It is about getting bums in seats. Obviously, you got to be a certain level of comedian, but if you can get a laugh at the worst open mic there is, you could probably just get a laugh at the best gig there is. Because if you get one there, you could. So like you could, not anyone could do it, but you just got to get your stage presence and everything up to a level, and then it's just about marketing and getting. And obviously, I want to keep getting better and better. But you see some of these people selling out shows, I see. Then like what? And I'm like, it's not. They're not doing anything groundbreaking. It's just they've marketed themselves incredibly. Yeah, and that's just it's all it is. It's about selling yourself so people like you, so people want to see this guy.
Okay, next question. Most important question. We've got camera, a bit of camera flicker, Richie. You want to turn the camera off and on, or we work? Is it okay? So that's okay. Okay, good. Okay, so Cam, this leads us into the next question. Obvious question. How much material have you got that you're confident in?
So I'm doing a show at Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Snake Eyes, run in. I brought the thing just so I wouldn't. 15th to 20th of April, 8:45 at the Grace Darling Basement Hotel. Snake Eyes, Google it. Yeah. Anyway, and I did a trial show.
Well, I sit that there.
Yeah, I did a trial show.
Snake Eyes. That's it.
Cool. Did a trial show the other week, like two weeks ago, and I did about 40. I had about 35 minutes, and that was going. I did 32 minutes, but that was going so quick, and I kind of forgot a few things. And there's probably another 10 minutes that I have, but like I'm not doing the stuff from Raw. But I'm doing a 25-minute show, and I'm pretty happy with the 25 minutes I got. If I had to do 35, I could, but I'm pretty happy to cut rid of those 10, so it's really solid 25 minutes. And it kind of flows into each other and all that, so I'm not looking to do an hour anytime soon. I think when I do an hour, I want it to be like a full show of sorts.
What about the idea of having other writers around you, kind of like helping you with write? You haven't worked with
like I write with other comedians in terms of I have a couple of mates. One of my friends, my housemate, the guy that I live with, he's not a comedian, but he's honestly not even that funny. But I just speak to him and he just clicks. He's really funny. I'm gonna take that back. He's hilarious. But he just says things that helps trigger things in my mind. Like he'll say a lot of bad ideas, but I'll feed off that. So not that I don't want anyone to ever give me a joke and say here, but I have a few comedian friends who I'll talk about jokes. We've sat down and written jokes, but everything I say I want to write.
But what about the idea that there was that African American comic who started doing specials. He'd get a theatre, he'd do a lot of promoting, he'd film it, and he'd whack it up on like Netflix or something. You know what I mean? And he had about 7 other comedians that would just kind of like sit backstage, take notes. He could add a word. So the origin was him, but he just had this kind of team around him to kind of help him get.
Yeah.
Somebody
there's some friends, like people I'm really close with in comedy, I will, if they have a joke where I'm like, you could say that better, I confuse, but I don't want to say, I don't do that. If I don't know someone and they say that to me, I'm like, what? Shut up. No, I like it this way. But if it's a close friend or something, I would. But I think I still see it as an art of sorts, and I go, this is my art. I want to. Obviously, there's way. If someone does tell me you should probably say it this way or that way, I'll try it and I'll see how I like it. But I want to be writing all my own jokes.
Oh, 100%. Well, one of the golden rules in comedy is that you have to do your own stuff. You can't be nicking or borrowing or whatever, and plenty of people have done that type of thing at that time. And also old gags, old vaudeville gags, just leave them, let them die. So Cam, as you said, you got about 24. You got about 25 minutes of material that you really like. You could stretch to 35.
Yeah.
Have you thought of doing some specials? Getting a big Athenaeum too, upstairs, getting some camera gear.
Well, I'm going to film the festival show, but I'm 2.5 years into comedy, 3 years into comedy. I don't want to, I can't have this thing in my head. Everything I post and everything I want to be really proud of. And I know that if I did that now, in a year's time, I wouldn't be proud. I'd be like, this isn't good enough. So I'm like, everything will come in due time, but a special, no, and even I'm going to film the festival shows, but I'm just going to put out a handful of jokes as clips on Instagram or YouTube or something like that, not post it. People are trying to put everything out so quickly and...
Yeah. Well, look at the Arwin Kraze show. Huh? we have, don't we, Richie? Yeah. We have no zero standards on this show. Mm. But no, it's good to talk comedy business because I've had Maury Morgan come on the show, who's a promoter. I've had Trent Munn come on the show, who great guy, finding his feet in comedy, trying different styles, whatever. Had Aidan Hitchens come in the show, who I think is one of Melbourne's hardest working comics. But you're the guy with the most potential. You know, and so that's what I'm interested in.
Shit on everyone. Thanks for coming on my podcast, guys, but you guys aren't as good.
Not all horses in a stable are the same.
Yeah.
Right? Some horses are going to run the Caulfield Cup, some are going to run the Melbourne. But anyway, so our long-suffering Tiger. How long have you been going Tigers all your life?
Yeah, since I was born. Yeah.
What do you think of the triple premiership?
Well, it worked out perfectly for me because I think if you're a 25-year-old AFL fan, going to Richmond, you've had the full spectrum of...
100%.
Because I went through 17 years of heartache and, bullshit when... If you're like a Hawthorn fan, you're not appreciating your flags. Like, I have friends who are Hawthorn fans and they won in 08, so they're 8 years old when they won. Like, you don't appreciate the flag. So I went through knowing how hard it is to win. We won 3. Awesome, Dustin Martin, cool, we just the best team, and now I don't care anymore. Now I'm just, tools are down, and it's worked perfectly because I used to play footy, I loved footy, and now, because it's I would never have missed a game of footy, just on TV, but now I'm I got gigs to do now, so I'm happy that Richmond's not good now, because it allows me to step back and focus on comedy instead of footy.
You know what I think could be an interesting area to do a show would be like a footy-centric show.
Yeah.
Driven by the fans.
Yeah.
As opposed to the experts. Because there are people who do these podcasts around footy and YouTube. I've seen a few of them. That could be something. That could be, I've often looked at the showbiz as it's kind of like this fortress. Where's the bloody door? How do you get in? You know what I mean? Just every time you ring someone, no. And so you got to look for the kinks or the side doors, and maybe a footy show, mate. That could be.
Everything could be possible. I think in my life, I actually, now that I think about it, I want to just do whatever I feel like doing. So what are my hobbies? If my hobbies are watching footy, I want to get paid to do that. I just want to be able to do. So that's what that is. That's what, if I'm just doing a footy show, it's because what am I doing on the weekend? I'm watching footy. Well, then it's technically work now. So it would be it would be cool. It would be awesome. Later in the track, let's get big first.
Okay, so how far... Okay, so we've talked about this whole idea that everything will come in its proper time. I just need to be a damn good comic, and I need to be proud of what I produce, right? None of the qualities of the Arwin Kraze show, by the way. But how far off are you to getting to that standard where you're thinking, okay, so... I mean, because... comics talk about they've got their A gags, their B gags, their C gags. Like, some people look at their routine and go, nah, it kind of gets a half laugh.
Yeah.
Not the best gag. This is A-grade stuff. Then I've got this gag here that, works 60% of the time. This one works 80% of the time. It's only ever half giggle.
Yeah.
How much A-grade stuff, in your 25-minute routine, we'll call it 35/10, how much A-grade material have you got that you're thinking, mate, this could carry me?
In the grand scheme of comedy, none. In the grand,
come on.
I've been doing it for 3. I don't want to be thinking. I honestly believe.
But you don't think you got any A-grade material? You don't think you got?
I think I have some pretty good jokes, but I also think, I think a lot of it is who I am as well, about how I present it and how I say it. I think, if someone read my jokes word for word, I don't think they'd be someone like a Jimmy Carr who's got just one line, very structured jokes. My joke, I'm not like that. I'm more just, I think it's more my cadence, my flow, which adds to it. So if we're talking strictly based on writing material, probably none.
So, okay, this is good. This is significant. So you want to get to the stage, right, where you've got, we talk about having an hour eventually down the track. So what's the timeline? There's this, Rick Rubin talks about, Rick Rubin who talks about this whole idea.
Book.
Yeah, did you read his book? Creative Active Way of Being. Rick Rubin talks about the fact that
I just want to say that I read books, just so everyone listening is like, oh my god, he reads books as well, yeah. I read about 4 books, and lucky that the one guy he brought up was a book I read, so I just wanted to flag so I can read books as well, guys.
See, I told you this guy's the future. Now, he reads books. Now, Rick Rubin says that perfection is not necessarily something that needs to be hit. You know what I mean? That it's actually the imperfections or the human side aspect of whatever. I mean, well, you know, like I've had in my time gags that I thought were comics would say to me, "Oh, that's the perfect gag that for you." You know what I mean? For my routine, but. The grass is always green on the other side.
Yeah.
You know, someone's talking about their life and how they, you know, pooed their pants at school, and that seems a lot more funny than my stuff ever happened. But so the grass is always greener. I mean, is there a point where, like a Trent Marn, where you go, look, I want a whole new style. I just want to talk about relationships. I just want to talk about me.
Well, I kind of just talk about my life anyway, but I have changed my style. So my raw set, I'm very awkward and very like. Not emotive, and I'm not myself, and like there was just a period of that point in comedy where I was just doing this awkward style, and you know, I remember someone saying to me like, "You're just such a, you're not like, why are you doing that on stage?" And I was like, I don't know, because I did it I was hungover at the first raw set, and I didn't actually, and I was just in an awkward, weird mood. And so I started just doing this weird, awkward thing, and then I kept getting through to the next stage. I'm like, well, I'm not going to change it now. And then so I was just doing it normally, and then I kind of like started just being myself more on stage. And then there's times where I will, like, there's a time last year where I was just going really weird on stage. And I was doing really well, and I loved it. But I kind of forgot how to, like, I lost it. I don't know, I stopped. One gig I just didn't do it, and then now I've never been able to find the real like momentum of what that was. It was like a 2-week period where I was just Arwin Kraze it on stage, and it was working well.
So, okay, all right. Now, we've got about, you know, in this Arwin Kraze show, we're on the home stretch. We've got about 8 minutes to go. That's if we do the whole 40 thing. Okay, so give us a timeline. Okay, so you're 25 now.
25.
When's your birthday?
July 27th. So turn 26 this year.
July. Okay, my daughter's actually July 29. Interesting.
Couple Leos.
Leo's there. So, okay, the timeline is what? Because
I think the 29th is Harry Potter's birthday as well.
Oh, is it?
Or maybe the 30th. 30th is Harry Potter's birthday.
Okay.
Check the facts. Anyway.
So, interesting. So, what's the timeline? Like, because there's an old proverb that says a lazy person doesn't roast their game, and it sounds like you really want to kind of slow cook your routine and not rush into any big thing. Or
yes, but also I want everything right now. Like I know, like I'm working so hard because I want it now. Yeah, but I know that it is going to take time, and you know, every comedian that you see on your phone, like, they're all 35. They're all old. They've been doing it for so long. So, like, timeline of what? I don't know, but whatever timeline I'm on right now, I'm enjoying. Obviously, I would like to do better gigs, more paid gigs, sell out shows. Like, I would love to not have to work in a factory during the day.
Oh, man.
But I'm pretty comfortable with doing that until comedy. Like, I've accepted that this is now my life. You've done this to yourself, Cameron. I've made it so I could never do anything else in my life. I went to uni, had a job, and now doing comedy, being like, this is possible. I'll never be able to do anything else. So I will do it till. Yeah.
So how far away are you from being able to give the day job a flick? Yeah.
I think I'll always work a day job as long as I have time. Because I need to be. If I'm not busy, I'm not happy. I need to be moving. I'm too energetic. I'm too much. If I work 1 day a week and I get $250 for it, well, what else? If I'm just doing nothing that day, obviously I would love to be doing creative stuff every day and going on tours and stuff like that. But unless I'm earning like crazy amounts of money, like hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, I will always probably just work another job.
Yeah, right.
Like if I can earn, you know, I don't know numbers. I don't know how much people earn, but if I have time to work, I will work, because if I sit at home for a couple of days, I start going loopy.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you an interesting story. There was a. Do you know CJ Fortuna? Have you heard of CJ Fortuna? He used to be a friend of mine, a comic, back in the 90s, and and we would hang out a lot. We'd smoke the bongs and that. And there's another guy, Peter, used to hang out.
Yeah, I started doing too much of that. That's what I got to stop doing to reach whatever you keep telling me to do. I got to stop doing those things.
We would talk about UFOs, and whatever, stuff, whatever. There was a very well-known comic who used to be in his bedroom, and he would just be writing. And making phone calls and writing, making phone calls and writing. And he would come out for 20 minutes, say hello, and then go back in his room, write. And so there is a way, if you've got that work ethic, there is a way to kind of not work a 9 to 5, but be totally dedicated to. Yeah. But it takes this incredible discipline. This comedian who did do very well for themselves had that discipline to be able to just write, ring promoters, write.
I write every day.
Yeah, I do.
Write every morning.
Let's hear about that.
Every morning, wake up, write. No, it might not even be jokes. We'll just be journaling until I can think of a joke, or until I go, all right, I'm going to rewrite this joke right now.
What are you writing? Like the dream of that?
I'll just go, I feel good this morning. I'll also write what I'm grateful for. I'll be like, I'm grateful for 3 things I'm grateful for. I'll also I'll write a compliment about myself. I'm like, I like your new hair. Like, I'll just say something just because it's a good way to start the day off positively. Then I go into jokes. But then, I got to go to work. So then, but if I have then I'll have if I have a half joke, I just couldn't finish it in the morning. And then all day at work, it's just, I'm just working, thinking about, how can I end this thing? And think about, and then I get home from work. I'll get home, go to the gym, get home, sit down, write again, try to finish these jokes. Eat dinner, shower, whatever, go to a gig, maybe write at the gig as well. I always want to write, I have too many thoughts in my head.
Richie, do you see why I said this guy is going to be one of the handful of... Cause their work ethic's unbelievable, Cam. I mean, you must say... I mean, you're working a full-time job. You're writing in the morning. You're getting home writing. You're gigging at night. Even coming and doing the Arwin Kraze show. How many gigs you got on tonight? You got a couple on tonight? Two tonight, yeah.
But it's just what I have to do to not be depressed. I'm like, I can't. If I'm at home, I'm sitting at home smoking weed, and I don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta move my body. Like, I think of about like mind, body, and soul. Yeah, I want them all 3. So I think comedy's for the soul. I go to the gym for my body, and then like mind. That's like, writing and like, I don't know, other things. But I always feel I want to keep it all together, be a functioning human, I'm making myself sound like I'm really, but I have a lot of downtime as well. My life is pretty chill. My life is chill.
Right, so Richmond Port this Saturday, 4:00, whatever it is. How do you think Tigers will go?
I'm weirdly confident. Yes, we're probably realistically we're going to get smashed. Like, we're probably.
But Port had such a terrible.
But playing a team after they get smashed by 100 points, they're coming out hot. They're coming out so hot. So I reckon
they might come out demoralised.
Nah, I reckon they got a clip over the ear this week. Yeah. They got a clip. They got a spray, and they got a really we're going to be in a bit of trouble, I think. They are a much better side than us, and I think, we won our grand final. That was our grand final. Let's be real. I went to it. It was awesome.
Oh, did you go? Did you?
I went. My friend who was a Carlton supporter. I was like, I might do a gig, and he's like, come on, man, I got nobody to go with. Begged me to come, Carlton supporter, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to halftime. And then second quarter, when we're down by so much, I'm like, I'm going to go. And I was thinking about the donuts I was going to get in the car park. So I'm going to get 6 GM donuts, I reckon. And then we started kicking these goals. I was like, all right, I'll keep around. He ended up leaving early, and it was one of the best nights ever.
Yeah, exactly. Cam, I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, Alan.
Thank you for coming on the show. Now, listen. My request now stay in the chair because we're going to roll the end music for the show. Listen, when you get somewhere and you're working in TV, I want a writing gig, okay? I want to be making the coffee. So does Richie. Richie, we want a gig with this guy. Take us with you, okay, when you get somewhere?
I'll see what I can do. I'll speak to the guys.
No worries.
I'll speak to the guys out there.
This has been Cam Muratore. We'll see you next time.